way of emphasizing the stupendous nature of the resurrection. Well, this led to a real brouhaha with people lining up on both sides, and the primary battle was between Licona and Norman Geisler. I love it. I was just given two different dates in the chat channel, which sort of gives you some idea of why there's differences in dates in ancient literature too. 2011 and 2010. So Norman Geisler went after Licona and basically said, this man does not believe in inerrancy. And when I, waded into that, I tried to once again do so without unnecessary vituperation, which frequently gets me shot at by both sides as well. And I guess the book came out toward the end of November, so it was 2010, early 2011 when all this is going on. And, Licona, I guess, sort of lost his job, or at least resigned from his position. And look, I know what it's like to have Norman Geisler come after you. Norman Geisler does not like me anymore at all. That's a sad truth. But the fact of the matter is, Norman Geisler isn't always wrong. And I certainly took exception with Licona's view on the Matthew 27 issue. Gave my own understanding of the text. But I likewise, having listened to his debates with Ehrman, I likewise was like, yeah, really, at best, super soft on inerrancy. In all likelihood, having taught for a number of different seminaries, yeah, I've heard this before. I don't want to deny it, but if you're not passionate about it, you probably don't really believe it. Okay? If you think it's true, then you're going to be passionate about it. I suppose you could think it's true, but you really don't like it. But on this subject, that wouldn't make any sense. So at that time, I was like, yeah. Well, it seems without question to me that what we're going to watch here pretty much ends that whole saga, and basically says that, yeah, Geisler was right, and this is the result of it. And it's a process over time, but yeah, no two ways about it. And see, since I, with a clear conscience, can say that I accurately represented Norman Geisler when I wrote in response to him, then I can say, hey, I don't have skin in this game, as they say. I don't do what I do for personal reasons. If something's true, it's true. If something's false, it's false. And, accuse me of things if you will. There's a situation right now. I'm trying to reason with a brother, not to go after another brother on a subject that he should not attack him on. And I think I'm failing, but once that comes out, you're going to discover that I'm trying to convince a brother not to attack a brother who attacked me. Because it's not a matter of all the politics and the personal stuff. It's what matters. And see, when we look at this, what you need to understand is this impacts our evangelism of Muslims. This impacts how we reach out to folks. And so I have to be consistent. I have to respond to this stuff. It's there. It's right in the middle of what we are addressing and what we're saying. Would it be easier just to keep my mouth shut and stay out of the way? Would we not lose as many supporters over things? Yeah. But what can I do? This is out there. It's got to be dealt with. Someone's got to talk about it while we still have the freedom to talk about it. The day's coming. I'm not sure we're even going to be able to talk about these things. Okay, so here's. See, I'm plugged in for audio. Let's go.
Are any differences in the Gospels that you don't think are adequately explained by appealing to compositional devices such as literary spotlighting?
Yes, I do. I think some of the most difficult ones, perhaps the most difficult one, I think would be, in my opinion, is the location of the feeding of the 5,000. And I get into detail with this, a lot of detail in the forthcoming book.
I don't know what the forthcoming book is. Sorry. I'm certainly going to be looking for it. But I just realized I gave you 2 reasons. I only gave you the first. Sorry. I did a lot. The first reason had to do with the Lycona background, stuff like that. But the second reason I'll give you right now, before he continues on. This is an issue of geographical location. And I've told the story many times of how when I was in seminary, Fuller Theological Seminary, which was the only seminary I could go to in the Phoenix area. Poor as a church mouse. I don't remember how many years it took us to pay off the student loans even for then. And back then it was nothing in comparison to this now. Long time. But that's why I went there. And got a good education there. But I was Fuller's token fundamentalist. And I wasn't at the Pasadena campus. It was here in Phoenix. And fully ATS accredited, by the way, Mr. Prash. Anyway, when somewhere along those lines, somewhere, I don't know where it was, I was already involved with apologetics, and so I found most interesting many of the classes that most of my fellow students just found boring. All the Old and New Testament background stuff, and the geography and archaeology, and you could hear people snoring literally during those classes. But I already knew how important that stuff was, and so I was focused in. So somewhere along the lines, I don't remember what class it was. I don't remember what professor it was, and anything like that. But when I first started seeing people using, and some of this may have come from Bible college too, because I was involved then at Grand Canyon. When, for example, I would see people arguing that the Book of Mormon cannot be the Word of God because it says that Jesus was born at Bethlehem.